hot damn, that video is better every single time.
The Zoe also gets better every single time.
I don't know. I think I've already I've cast it once. I'm kind of full up of it for the moment here. But yeah, massive amounts of damage coming out of Kuro. Not as much out of Spirit, but it was more the threat combo. They just forced everybody back to the fountain time and time again. Trouble Bubble into Paddle Star with the spear layered on top equals flash or death.
And Rengar did less damage than Tahm Kench, so that's bad. Unfortunately, when he was banned into a corner, Ambition defaulted to the Rengar, his only other champions played this season. It meant they had no real committal engage, short of an Azir sec play. And they got pushed in, the Rengar did nothing, and they lost. So credit to Afrika and credit to Kuro. Look at that scoreline. That's the scoreline of a true champion. 001. He was the first before James Bond was the 007. But yet, still, a star in his own right.
Yeah, 33%. Just the 3 kills that Afrika had picked up there. But Kuro will go ahead and launch himself up into that massive tie that we have for second place at the moment. And, I mean, this is probably just going to be people getting burst down.
Also some sick trouble bubbles. That one over the minion there. He was really on with his skill shot accuracy, and what did we say? What was the prophecy, Achilles? Either it would be very much a Kuro champion, or he would struggle with it. This one fell into the former. He looked great on the Azir, and we're still waiting to see Faker's Azir. We will see other great, Faker's Zoe. We'll see other great Zoes, but at the end of the day, you have to give credit where credit's due. Great picks from Kuro, lane control as well. He played his part, so did the rest of the team, and he never registered a kill on the champion, and yet was the reason they won.
I mean, this just, if you guys weren't convinced already, I think this kind of goes ahead and secures it for you. Just ban Zoe in all of your solo queue games.
I mean, you look at Ruler. Ruler didn't really seem to know how to play against it. He was using his QSS in between the slow and the stun, so he actually got stunned anyway, so some mistakes against it. Clearly no recent experience playing against the pick, so Kuro probably not going to get access to the Zoe a second time, and we're not going to get access to the same roster, Achilles.
No, we're not, and that's going to be on the KSV side of things, which means that Ambition, the star of our brand new intro, will be put on the bench, and Haru is going to be brought in, and Haru is not somebody that we've seen for a while.
First game of the season, played a little bit at Worlds. He was the king of spring last year. He and Crown taking MVP votes away from each other before Crown was eventually voted MVP of spring season. Haru is the one known for the Rengar. It almost feels disrespectful for him to be watching his old man Ambition play it on the Rift, but Haru also has always had a bit of a different champion pool. Loves the Kayn in solo queue. If someone wants to get in there and skirmish, this man loves to skirmish. So going to be interesting to see how this affects the team, but also at Worlds, we saw very clearly how shot calling changes when Ambition is not there. What has Haru learned in his extended time away? Are they going to be able to find a hybrid between the passivity of Ambition, the aggression of Haru, but also the shot calling that Ambition brings? Suddenly, everything we thought we knew about KSV is a little bit up in the air. They are always a different proposition when Haru plays.
Here we go, into the pick and ban. Afrika flipping over onto that blue side, which has been the predominant side for victories. Blue side very much has been coming out on top over red.
Red side bans for Afrika game 1, Sejuani, Ryze, and Malzahar, and they went on to ban more junglers in the second round, so we might have to see a first round jungle pick here for KSV. We will not be seeing a Kalista from Kramer, that much is for certain.
Not again. We'll let him get his hands on that one, and I mean, they went for the really ballsy pick on the Gangplank, fully knowing that Afrika would likely go for the Gnar, and I don't think that they can afford that at all, so maybe we have to see the Gnar banned as well.
It's not usually the way that QV rolls. You think back to his series against Khan in the quarterfinals of Worlds, and he took carry for carry after being a tank player for the majority of summer and did great with it. So we know that he can play both styles against a carry player. Why not show this young buck some of your tricks and try to take it 1v1? That's what I would love to see.
But the Camille's banned, so that's one of the big ones for him as far as the carry champions in the top lane.
Almost seems like he's daring a first pick Gnar when you see Camille banned on red side and Gnar a very possible first pick. Kog'Maw will not be open. Ezreal open, though, in this particular scenario. Ruler was fine on it, but couldn't contend with the Zoe, so didn't end up contributing too much.
Couldn't really contend with just about anybody. Gnar nearly beating him, if not for that lifesteal reduction that he had going on, but Kha'Zix is going to be the first pick. And we
Denial.
still have had some ups and downs with this pick. It is a takeaway, as you say, but Kha'Zix still isn't the most successful here in 2018.
Definitely, but Haru defaults to aggressive matchups. He like Keen, for example, needs to have the aggressive edge, and there's not many people that out-skirmish the Kha'Zix. If you want to actually be aggressive, Kha'Zix can turn around ganks. He can do so much. So it will be ultra comfort for Rula, that much is for sure. He will be jumping on, and here's a bot lane KSV knows how to work with.
From Varus. Gonna get snatched up here. Afrika with the Ezreal still available. Could just decide to take it here, or else potentially have it banned against them in the second round.
You have to
For now-
smile seeing things like this, but we do see right now at least the flash of the gangplank. You could see why it was drafted by KSV. They wanted to play their side lanes, but they lost in too many spots. And the global and the fact that he was run over by the Gnar was too much. And Afrika are putting together a very fearsome draft on blue side in terms of sheer power. Will it just be the Gnar lock-in at this juncture? It will be banned against QV. If it's not taken, it's the last pick on red side. Or does QV have something else prepared for us?
Well, Ezreal will be the pickup as expected. There's the instant lock on the Gnar, so no big surprises here from QV for us, but we will get to see this mirrored matchup and see how QV handles it, if he can be as oppressive as Keen was.
We know he can be, but will he be, like you say, is the proposition we'll find out. Will we see the Zoe ban here, as Zoe in the second round is very possible from the Afrika Freaks? Waiting a long time on their first ban. You see Trace on screen, the pick ban coach.
Tarek.
Banning away Tarek. Actually trying to make the bot lane a little bit more brittle and then maybe attack that seems to be the plan here so far by KSV. Banning away the Ambition special, the Zac, as everyone seems to be taking on the reverse cosplays here in side of KSV. We already had Ambition as a Rengar main this season, so the Zac's going to be banned away from Haru. Leaving Zoe up again would be playing with fire by KSV, but they're going to do it. They ban away the Azir.
So yeah, Zoe still on the board. KSV maybe wanting to take it for themselves as that first pick once we exit the ban phase, perhaps. Would still be a bit surprising, and it will be on the board if Crown wants it.
And away Haru's Rengar, which draws even more respect than Ambitions. Two different ways to approach it. It's going to be, you would imagine, a very risky jungle pick at last pick if it is left there, and we see Crown considering it. He's just been on the receiving end
He's gonna
of
lock
a
it in.
paddling, and he's going to be doing some paddling of his own. Here a cheer from the KSV fans. First visit to the Zoe by Crown.
All right, 2 games in a row. Getting a bit spoiled here as we see that one locked in. But yet, like you said, not that many jungle options left available. The Nidalee that we just saw from Spirit could be taken by Haru and does fit his wheelhouse of champions. Very aggressive Battle Ward style.
Or will we see something crazy? I would love to see the Kayn. We never see Kayn in solo queue, and if it was a very squishy lineup, we never see it in competitive play in Korea, I should say. If it was a very squishy lineup, we would have considered it, but this is another way to go against Zoe. Just get ultra tanky and tank up the Trouble Bubbles and Paddle Stars, which is what Kura is going to be looking to do. He was another one of our resident Gallios, and it's also a Galio Kha'Zix special, so the sort of thing that will invade very aggressively. Afrika in their second round of picks here round out their draft very well. Suddenly, you have balanced engage, you have the ability to invade, and have the first rotation of the Galio.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be Jungle Jacks, so tank Jungle Jacks from Haru. Haru, just like Malrang, is an inventive player. You can pull off very inventive ganks, but I feel like you have to get the snowball rolling, at least in terms of pressure, like Afrika were in the previous game. But Afrika Freaks and KSV are polar opposites in that way. KSV suddenly do feel like they have to fight fire with fire, and that's against Galio. That's against a lot of tools by the Afrika Freaks. KSV and Afrika, this is going to be a really exciting one because there's a lot going on here, and just farming to the late game isn't necessarily going to be the best way forward for KSV.
Plenty of tankiness, plenty of people that can sit in front of the other members of the Afrika Freaks and just tank up those Paddlestar shots with little worry. Galio and Alistar both are going to be having to soak those up if Crown gets deadly, gets ahead in the early stages here of game number 2. KSV already lost their first game of the season so far. They don't want to lose their first match. They want to tie this up and go to game 3.
Really like a lot of what Afrika Freaks have done in the draft, though. So when it comes to draft, just showing once again the Galio priority is back in Korea. It was confirmed in the interview with Lava saying, well, I was just playing what people were playing in scrims. I went early in the week. I got to show it. Clearly is going to be a big favorite. Always been a good friend of the Kazakhs as a duo. Haru will want to scrap, but the Galio and the Gangplank can back him up really well. There's no guarantees that KSV will be able to force a game 3.
Well, looks like we might have plenty of scrappiness on our hands with the GP, the Kazakhs, the Ferris, the Jacks. I'm looking for an all-out brawl, Papa Smithy. Let's see if they can deliver on that as we load in for game number 2. See if Afrika closes this out nice and cleanly, or if KSV will tie it up and take us to game number 3.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
We're JJ and Crown waiting for the river brush here at the moment, seeing if anyone from Afrika is going to wander just a bit too close.
Scary proposition against Braum, so you'd imagine no. This is definitely the support you're the most respectful of, even more so than perhaps Alistair, because he does not have to commit to actually start a stun chain, 1Q, a couple of ranged auto attacks, and lights out at level 1. Means that Afrika will be very, very shallow. Really excited to see someone other than Score visit into the Jungle Jacks. It's 2 games for Score, 2 victories, but they've been largely passive.
It hasn't been much involvement from him.
But I remember Malrung's crafty ganks with ward jump into flash, into E in the mid lane. Does that work against Galio? Your thought is no, and because it's Galio, remember those super leashes? They're back.
That they are. So we have to start up right here at the Raptors. Plenty of damage offered up here for Spirit.
Amusingly, because the AP and the base damage of Q went down, it doesn't instant clear. But still a lot of damage, like you say. Just be able to solo down. So the super leash is back. Thought that was a thing of the past, but just like the Galio, has reared its ugly head again. Look at those DPM numbers. Azir at 444 is terrible. Awful DPM numbers, but he was out of range of doing damage the entire time, so Crown was just a complete non-factor on the Azir.
Well, we'll see how much he can increase it this time around now that the Zoe is in his hands. He's going to be trying to poke down, but it's just going to get more and more difficult as time goes on, given the tankiness here of the Galio. Sleepy Trouble Bubble going to connect for the Paddle Star. Kuro's one hit from dead. All right, that's a damn good start for Crown.
Well, he got owned, but he can just go away and teleport, so flash down, not ideal. Maybe we'll see that Jungle Jacks go for a visit in the mid lane.
We very well could.
I apologize to all you out there who've been watching other regions with Zoe involved. It's new in Korea, new tech. They didn't notice it till recently. But does an ass load of damage, that's for sure. Let's watch Haru here. Gonna be spotted by a zombie ward. Those level 1 wards turning into extra vision with a zombie ward is so powerful.
Yeah.
Zombie wards will be nerfed, so 3 minutes into the game, if a ward was placed at 1 minute, I believe it would have timed out by now if it was the new zombie ward.
That sounds correct. So, less of that long-standing vision that you can just throw down for free at the start of the game.
The wave clear times. Kuro will hope that that was just a early salvo and no more, but lane control and mid lane down to the Zoe with a flash lead. QV walks up, going to be able to harass. It's Keen. Keen staying equal in CS, and a very defensive start by QV has gone for the Doran shield, accepting that he will be taking plenty of parlay harass. Haru's the one who's empowered by a no-flash Galio and also the Nah vs GP matchup, so let's see what he can make of it.
For now, just going to be recalling back to base, it would seem, as Kuro just takes a little bit more damage here. Also worth noting, you know, flash and secondary summoner spell advantage as Kuro did TP back into lane.
Finds a GOP out of nowhere. The wonder of Zoe.
There's an exhaust waiting on the ground, so there you go. Now has that. So if we see the Kazakhs come in for a visit, just go ahead and mitigate so much of that damage. that would otherwise rip right through the squishy little mage.
I was sitting back and wondering about if the Comet would have killed Galio at level 2. Hard to say. Hindsight's 2020. Galio will be able to just rush the Merc Treads or go into the Abyssal Mask. Probably going to be both of them this game because of the sheer threat of Zoe. Haru does rule the jungle as well. So, good start so far from KSV. Ultra comfort in the bot side. Whenever you think of Varus Braum, you think of Ruler and Core JJ in combination with Ambition on something like Sejuani. KSV taking a lot of harass here. Not sure if that was a turret shot off screen, but lower than you'd expect for the Nara versus Gangplank.
Yeah, it's going to be sending him back to base. So, bit of a reprieve here for Keen. Seems like he is just going to go ahead and take time to back off as well.
Just being a jerk. Aftershock on the Alistar. The fun times of the Alistar with Unsealed Spellbook seem to be limited to just a couple of our supports, Gorilla most notably. Otherwise, looking at the summoners again, full tank press the attack Jax is the favorite in the 2018 season, trading off base damages.
For another one, and that's a pretty nice chunk going through there, even, considering there's already a Null Magic Mantle sitting on Kuro.
Towards Mercs first, you'd imagine, but it could just be Negatron, given that Abyssal Mask has for a long time been a core of Galio builds. If you're new to Galio this week, it's kind of become a big pick. We've seen a couple of tank Galios, but most exciting was the Protobelt Leandri's Void Staff that we saw from Lava on his Galio earlier in the week.
Quite inventive.
Kind of look at every item as Galio now and see it as somewhat viable, given that since last year to this year, a lot of the power was jacked onto ratios.
Bot lane. Down. Yeah, there's going to be ultimate coming through.
Ruler's probably dead
Keen,
here.
And Ruler is in a really bad spot. Pops the heal, but it doesn't matter. Kramer's there for the follow-up. Gets the kill. Now Core JJ also going to get chunked out, but they can't pursue in for the double kill. But Ruler going down early. Both summoner spells used by him, and the stopwatch is not a good look for KSV.
Yeah, they look a bit out of sorts. The kill secured by a very good use of the Cannon Barrage. So Keen, an excellent map watching ability there. You usually have to play the lane when you're against Nara because of all the harass. Was able to watch the bot lane, get the Cannon Barrage in the right order, and like you say, through all three defensive tools at once, able to kill Ruler. It's a big advantage here for the Afrika Freaks.
Nicely done Crown in the meantime, going aggressive here in the mid lane. Gets the sleep with the Paddle Star hit. Just short of it. However, to chunk out Kuro and maybe force him back to base if that one connected. Seems like he's going back on his own anyway. This Crown is feeling a bit cheeky.
Crown trying to do everything himself. Poke around, poke down his mid lane. Just pick up blue on the back end. But nice vision coverage here from Afrika Freaks around the mid lane. Could afford to have their support go for a roam as Ruler only now just gets back to base. Back to lane, I should say. Nothing to talk about in the top side. No turret damage. Still good wave clear, even early from the Gangplank. So when it comes to actually getting meaningful turret damage, you'll see just one auto and then backing away.
Yeah, just a slight little lead here as far as the CS is concerned. But that is fully to be expected for QV in this matchup. It's just whether or not he's going to be able to run away with the game like we saw from Keen. If he can match that insanity with the Gnar. Something tells me that his build will probably be just a little bit different by comparison.
I think equally offensive, though, is probably the way we're going to see from QV.
I was very offended by it.
Solo Q also will do some tributes that perhaps will cut corners in the effectiveness of what we saw coming through from QV. He'll also be the big frontliners for Ruler to be able to do his damage. Well, they're going to be going for Rage Bait, going to be going very standard in his item build, but can't afford to be giving up summoners and stopwatches for free if he's going to hit his item timings early enough.
So we're going to have to be careful about that one. Two Paddle Stars back to back as he just charges his way straight into that Sleepy Trouble bubble.
Happy news is the resist linger, so even though Crown was able to wait till after the obvious AoE taunt field went down, he was still getting the resist, so damage a bit lower than expected. The Negatron is complete now, working his way towards the Abyssal Mask. Definitely not the same proposition that Crown was faced on when he was against the Zoe in that particular game, game 1. So far, pretty passive stuff, which for a KSV game is not a surprise. When the scaling is not guaranteed for KSV, it's going to be pretty competitive. Late game, definitely not ideal for them.
Still down by about 1,000 here. That first blood, and you see some differences that we're seeing here. Haru gonna go low, jumps over to the side, just takes that blast cone out. Trying to offer up the trouble bubble, but not finding the stun there.
KSV not finding control around Zoe's lane. That's the one thing that you'll remember that Afrika had the entire time is he's going to be stunned up.
A cheeky little portal jump there, but Crown going to go low, chasing it underneath the turret. But still, again, holds on to the flash. Knows his limits. Manages to stay alive.
It's a very different game when Zoe doesn't have the ability to duck both sides of the lane when you're not going to be winning the skirmish. And without a vision lead here, the Jack's going to be much stronger in a true 2v2, but he's not going to get a true 2v2. Right now, he's second to every single engagement. That suits Afrika just fine as bot lane. We do see Shot Barrage stop, but here's Spirit.
That one straight in. Ruler going to get popped on the backside right as Spirit comes in. Core JJ manages to stay alive yet again. Has to use his flash, but that's going to be 2 deaths now for Ruler. Afrika keep pushing the pedal here, trying to just speed up the game as quickly as they can.
Have the Galio to do that, Achilleos. So far, using it extremely intelligently. Got a gank onto Crown, didn't force a summoner, but he was under his turret, respecting. They didn't have full vision on where the Galio was. Galio was bot lane. Oh, Galio's taking good trades now as well.
Gets the taunt in there on the ground. Takes a bit more damage in that exchange than he would have liked. Haru in the meantime trying to take away these Raptors. Smite's going to come down. He'll just exit with the Counter-Strike rolling.
Fascinating early game. Once again, you feel like Afrika's on top. Kills show that. The gold lead shows that. But again, the most impressive thing to me is how they've played around the Zoe. The fact that I would take Zoe Jackson a 2v2 over the Galio Kha'Zix early in the game pretty reliably. But they've scouted around any windows of power from KSV. Put down smart vision. While that vision is starting to go away, it's been an impressive early game performance by Afrika.
Ground besieging backline minions here, just trying to clear those out, keep as much pressure onto that turret as humanly possible.
Why does KSV have no items to a Trinity Force? He should shop sometime.
Yeah, he really should, you know? He just has a Ninja Tabi.
Clearly has a lot of gold in his inventory.
Can we please observe his flips to the gold? I would love to see how much he's
I believe that's the biggest item discrepancy we've ever had at top lane. It's obviously wildly misleading, but it looks hilarious right now.
Yeah. He needs to find a time to go back. Maybe this is it right here. You should be able to get a very large purchase done.
Oh, yeah. Black Cleaver, perhaps. Frozen Mallet straight up, perhaps. He's being kept under turret because Gangplank's pushing up.
Yeah, he's been interrupted. He could use some help from Haru, perhaps, over on the top side of the map. Force it back from Keen is, well, instead, Haru looking to push in here, but Kuro and Tucson just be the most CC.
When you don't find a back timing, it's like you're in, you know, a 3,000 gold disadvantage, right? He's in a Trinity Force disadvantage against his opponent because he hasn't found a back timing. There's no extra interest rates for the gold in the inventory. And while he's not going to be solo killed in lane, he's giving up lane control to a Gangplank because he's been so conservative with his back timing.
Interest rates on gold in the inventory would be awful. It would be an awful idea. No one would ever back.
And we do have.
Let's just wait till late game, man.
We do have lending in the game, so it feels like the interest rates are the next thing to add in.
That's true. We do have that.
He goes back and buys a Black Cleaver. Felt like it could have been even more, but it's just a straight up Black Cleaver.
Well, it's better than what he had.
Yeah, definitely.
Still going to be a step in the right direction. Can help him contain and control this lane a little bit more here. Is Spirit hunting in for Crown. Flash away. Keep him safe, but not from that one. Tucson wraps around the back. Cannon Barrage comes down. He gets stunned up, and Crown, he just gets popped. Kuro finds the kill, goes in for the charge looking for Haru, but he's got the stopwatch to keep himself safe. But now the mid lane blown wide open, and it's going to be a 4-man roam. coming through here as they try to knock this down for first brick.
Because I love the map play here from Afrika. They had a control ward through the river. He thought he was out of dodge by flashing, but there's the Alistair. The mid lane turret is so super low. The Zoe laning phase is going to be ended very soon.
Pop up there on the Kramer, the Glacial Fissure, but they can't follow up for the concussive blow, so he'll be quite all right. Crown just now going to be respawning, has the TP. He wants to go down perhaps to the bottom lane and just let his AD and support sit in mid. Seems like they're just going to go ahead and reset things, but mid lane turret taken extremely low.
And the problem is that Zoe doesn't side lane particularly well. In a short lane, she can get out of problems with just a flash, just a cleanse, but in a long lane, she can be chased down. She doesn't have an escape.
Well, maybe not, given what just happened.
That's kind of the crazy thing here, is that they kind of have to stick with this lane assignment, which allows Galio to sit in mid lane with items specifically to counter the Zoe, and then has the first roam as well. So everything working for lane assignment for the Afrika Freaks. Their roaming has been super good. This hasn't really been a trait of their play in previous series so far. But here, just turning on roaming that we didn't know they were quite as well tuned for. Kane receiving pain on the top side, but 17 CS behind with a gold lead, perfectly happy.
Yep.
And Haru has found absolutely no counter this game as Spirit's back in mid.
About as effective as the Rengar from Ambition last game. Just hasn't had much going on, you can see.
Magic damage shield.
It's just not doing a whole lot right now.
Problem for Crown is, what do you build second? Because Void Staff would help you do some damage to Kuro, but wouldn't kill him. And Void Staff has pretty low value against anyone else on the team of Afrika Freaks. So the second item purchase here, Leandri's, perhaps will be the choice, but doesn't feel too fantastic either. Kuro is at the point where he does not care about Zoe's poke.
Yeah, I think maybe honestly you just have to play around, try to melt somebody like Kramer in Spirit at this point. Gotta find success in that endeavor. Or not gonna find the hop, not gonna find the stun. Spirit gonna make his way out. Pushing back in, he's gotta be careful. Let's see, he wants another death. Here's his name. Tucson gonna go low. Glacial Fissure comes down. Just knock him up, roots up the others. We'll draw out the barrage.
They were disengaging, so after his first great barrage, that one a bit wayward. Turning on to Haru, haven't had to see a hero's entrance for a second time. The first one used to great effect, turret diving in the bot side, and that is a very low mid lane turret for Crown.
Sitting around there for a while.
Battle ward happening. A Spirit.
They're going in.
Just trying to buy time.
Yeah, looking for the stun, does find it. This turret's still just going to be chipped away at by those few minions.
We had a lot of hypotheses about why Afrika, or how Afrika would do better in this series. Not a straight answer, but the one thing I wondered was, if Spirit is in a good spot, how does the shot calling look for Afrika Freaks? And I think resoundingly we can say, when he has confidence in his team, when he himself is not being counter-jungled like we saw Cuz relentlessly invading his jungle in Game 2 of the series earlier this week, they look a lot more reliable. I think from ahead, Spirit is evolving into a very solid shot call. It's probably a team effort in the early game, but all in all, the roams this game, the drafts have all been very intelligent.
Yeah.
And KSV, so long have they just stood back and kind of weathered games. They can't really confidently do that this game, but they're going to be forced to. This is another really clean early game by Afrika.
Turret still standing. First brick gold still on the line here. About a 1,500 gold lead for the Afrika Freaks. Juve trying to out-trade Keen. A bit of damage in. But you can see, this GP is hitting this point where he can just go ahead and very reliably clear out the minions. So getting damage onto the turret is going to get more and more difficult here for Juve.
So many reasons why KSV was looking good coming into this matchup. Afrika being dominated by Kingzone just 2 days ago. KSV not really breaking out a sweat, going 4-0 before this game. And yet none of those had mattered. Remember, at the end of the day, KSV had a lot more time to prepare for Afrika Freaks than Afrika did for this team. They had two equally difficult propositions this week between Kingzone and also KSV. They look like they have the tonic for KSV in this particular game in a way that few teams have in recent history.
Maybe looking for a bit of a gank here. in onto Kuro, who is extremely tanky. Now has Spirit waiting in the wings. He's going to go back in. It's a Justice Punch up. Trouble Bubble in onto the Galio. Crown has to jump back. Portal Jump brings him straight back into range of Spirit. True Shot Barrage not going to connect. They throw down the Barrage. Crown goes low. It seems like he might just make it out with his life, as does Haru. Using the Leap Strike over to the minion to get out of range of the GP ult. Barely make it out though. Flash now down on the Zoe yet again.
First roam for Tucson once again on the Alistair. Great on the roams here. Core JJ, predictably on the Braum, has been focused on lane. Spirit knows they've forced out both the mid laner and jungler, so free red buff. What is so far perfect game pace for Afrika Freaks.
Yet again. Dragon hasn't come through here for KSV. And the pressure has just been insane. Spirit constantly just one step ahead of Haru. Or at least is responding immediately to the ganks.
Yeah, in position to counter gank, good pathing. Love how they forced the flash early in the laning phase. For the Zoe, and when Haru has made the proactive moves that have worked in solo queue or working a year ago, he's found himself frustrated. We haven't really seen Haru prove why he was subbed in for Ambition, who sure did not have a fantastic game one, but has the runs on the board, you'd imagine, from World Championship status. Kuro is going to go to a bit of damage himself, haunting guys a little while ago until Leandri's no doubt coming out.
Turns out Tucson still takes a good chunk of damage. There's Crown looking for another little trade there, but Double Bubble not going to connect. Yet again, Spirit lurking nearby in this mid lane.
We're already at the point where Kuro's kind of happy to tank up the Paddle Stars and stop the wave clear from allowing him to be pushed in. You know, he's able to tank up one, Q the wave twice, push up against the Zoe. Throwing up a control ward right next to the enemy turret. He gets trouble bubbled. He doesn't care. I think he took damage. Nope, he did not.
Not even close. And that's going to be the Rift Herald called in. So, goodbye turret. Honestly, it's a waste of a little bit of that Rift Herald's HP just to get the charge off.
Could have been close to timing out. Wasn't 100% sure that they're going for more, though. Keen just walks up, tanks the turret. He doesn't care.
Trouble Bubble yet again connecting in onto Kuro, but that's about it. Mirage thrown down to the back line. Core JJ trying to block as much as he can with the Unbreakable, but the Rift Herald is still just ripping apart the turret, and looks like they might just lose it. Kuro coming in. Hero's entrance gets under the wall. The wall up not going to connect, nor will the concussive blows go off. Kuro's going to be fine. The turret barely survives, but Afrika, they force up. They take it. First brick goes over to them.
In the best decision here.
Now second.
Best decision for KSV was to ult the Galio, try and burst him down, but we know that's not going to work. There's no way at this point in the game he could be taken out. Couldn't even get a stopwatch out of him. Now the amount of map control they have in the mid lane is minute at best. There'll be deep vision from the minions as they push them up. So much room for the Galio to roam. Things just get better and better for Afrika Freaks.
Twice in a row, Afrika looking clean. It's not over yet, but still, they're on a very similar pace, if not a better pace than we saw from them in game number one. KSV is just struggling to find anything at all.
This is the duality of the Afrika Freaks, though. They came into the studio at the Gangnam Stadium on Tuesday and asked everyone what they thought for what was a very hype matchup between a King Zone team that had lost and also the Afrika Freaks, and everyone said, yep, Afrika, I think this is Afrika's time. They're looking great, they're looking strong. Got 2-0, you know, wasn't close against King Zone. And then today, you know, I think everyone would have had their money on KSV, and it hasn't been close the other way. Like, KSV, in this case, haven't looked as poor than they did against RNG in the group stage of Worlds. Now, ages ago. So, that to happen here is full credit to the Afrika Freaks, and feels like KSV, for once, is a bit of a step behind the meta in this particular game. Trying new things, trying the Zoe. But it doesn't necessarily feel like Crown is getting anywhere near the same value. The Galio pick's certainly a big reason for that.
Yep.
Will we see KSV make a true proactive attempt at starting a fight this series? Because we're 1.5 games in. I'm not sure we've seen one at Killers.
Not much of anything here. Stun going through onto the Galio, still looking to chunk him out, but even with everything being dumped onto him, he hasn't even been pushed below 50% HP.
All right, Haru's like, well, I'm a carry. Goes full solo Q. Will not be going for the tank build. It's going to build Trinity Force, I guess.
mean, you might need it just to try to, trade with Spirit to chunk out Kuro.
A lot of gold from the jungle for a 0-0-0 jungler to go, though. Bit questionable there. Not really a big fan of the Trinity Force from the jungle on Jax. Every other Jax jungle we've had previously had gone for an assortment of tank items.
Some people would say that it was quite questionable to sub Haru in here.
Fair.
Juve trying to hit the wave, but the boomerang's barely missing. This keeps getting so close, but I mean, like, even this hasn't been nearly as dominant as we would have expected given the reverse matchup. That little CS advantage for QV certainly means that Keen is massively ahead given the parlay and the kleptomancy.
No doubt.
And here we go, Spirit jumping in on top of Crown. Galio coming in. Haru is here to back up.
Oh!
They're surrounded. Oh boy, Spirit just gets annihilated. Crown, Portal jumps in, Portal jumps back. Wind's not there. Battlestar a little bit too early. Barrage not going to find Crown, and Haru might be able to finish it up, but from downtown. Here comes the true shot Barrage, and Kramer will finish him off.
Oh, that was hilarious. Had done so much work, even paddle jumped away from, portal jumped, I should say, away from the damage on the Q, and then there was nowhere for him to go. Dies anyway from downtown. Bad luck Crown. A new meme that's grown in that particular scenario. Trinity Force Jax, though, pretty good at killing turrets.
Yeah, as it turns out, he will chunk that one down, so take another look at this.
Crown does absolutely everything he can. Flashes away, hits the paddle star, surprising burst, gets the kill. And then in so many ways he can go down. This is a Leandri's Galio. The full ticks of his Q would have killed Crown.
One
he can't
hit of
go
that.
back. But there's Ezreal around the Baron buff. Boop. Bisects the angles there. Some great geometry coming through from the Ezreal.
It's another one. Not nearly as good of results there. What does tickle Ruler and Core JJ?
Crown truly is the Charlie Brown this time. He tried so hard. Didn't work out for him, but at least it was, a moment of brilliance by Crown and the side of KSV in what has been a series dominated by African Freaks. Whether it's just an individual moment and 2-0 loss, or whether we'll see more from KSV, not going to be clear. It's going to be a free Cloud Drake to the side of Africa.
Going to be the first one here in game number 2 at 27 minutes. Mountain going to be the next one to come through, and then we'll see that Elder Drake spawn. This Crown still sitting in the side lane. Protect this top tier 1 turret as best as he can.
Delaying the game. No flash this time, so there is a repeat from the Kha'Zix, as he was predicting there with the trouble bubble into
Just making sure it's not.
the brush, exactly. Would love to get some advanced vision down, but he's gone for the scrying orbs. He doesn't actually have the ability to just put down a yellow ward and provide himself coverage. Finds a ghost, as you do.
He's going to pop it. Why not? Charge back into the lane there as Kramer just jumps forward into Core JJ's space. He's going to get rooted down by the Chain of Corruption. Straight into Glacial Fissure. Popped up, goes low, but the Hero's Entrance might have just saved his life. Haru skirting around the outsides here. Find his way in with a Leap Strike, but looks like he might not be able to do so. And Ruler seemingly will get out with his life.
His skill shot accuracy always been one of the biggest traits of Ruler's Varus. Also his team fighting very, very strong on this champion. They do actually draw more resources out of Africa for the first time in a long time. Both Galio and Gangplank Globals are down. Potential for them to get a pick and force something bigger.
Checking the Baron. That would have been very bold of KSV. Ooh. Almost had it.
Definitely the most off champion is
a few pixels
Zoe,
off.
because you're always a couple of pixels away from just killing someone straight up. Back away with the game. Not necessarily swinging towards KSV, but for once trending upwards for KSV. 25 minutes plus of this game were very comfortable for Africa, but a couple of good moments in a row for KSV.
Trying to bring it back in. Seems like QV is going for a very similar build. As we see the Phantom Dancer completed.
He got the cheat sheet from his opponent number and Keen.
Do we see the Bloodthirster play with the Ruin King, though, is the question.
Might see an earlier Guardian Angel, I guess, is possible. A couple of different ways. Feels like this is the core right now for the I want to dunk on Gangplank, and from there it's pretty situational. As Asterix has done, the most damage, I would say, straight up, but also utility would be Blade, so very much could be the next choice. Finally, KSV feel like they can push up. They know that Galio ult's still down for a little while. This could just be Kha'Zix's death. No, he has QSS.
Yeah, for the moment, I had that brief little chance to push up, get a little bit of damage down onto the turret, but still going to be a while before they can open up the map even further. See here, QV still just trying to chunk out GP where he can, but really nailing him with the boomerang is proving to be increasingly difficult.
Spirit had to abort his item build a little bit. He has one big item in the Dusk Blade, but otherwise just a QSS, so definitely not strong here on the Kha'Zix. The boots of mobility, QSS not really helping him in team fights. No Black Cleaver to buff up other people's damage. Does mean he has to be very careful with his positioning. And Haru has been sitting on this Joram's Fist for a while. A couple of different ways you can go, Sterix Gauge or Frozen Mallet, both possible. Remember, it was Khan on the Jax who loved the Frozen Mallet to chase Nars in what was a top lane matchup at the time. It's going to be Sterix onto the Jax, so Ninja Tabi, but also the 30% tenacity when he pops the Sterix shield.
Try to survive a little bit longer in some of these skirmishes. It's
a brawler build. At the end of the day, just going to try and trivialize, say, Spirit and Keen in a fight with Counter-Strike and his general annoyance factor. Weird to think of Jax as a new age farming jungler, but that's where the meta kind of has gotten.
He's gotten a bit crazy. Another ghost drop there onto the ground.
Always gone for a different item build than we're used to. Low magic damage on the enemy team, only just the Liandry's on the Galio. Actually gone away from his wit's end, and he's gone for very early Lord Dominic, saying that, well, I'm probably only going to get to hit Kuro and Tucson forever.
Well, Chain of Corruption coming down, Ruler, making sure that Tucson can't get on top of him for the Pulverize. Stays safe, but big ultimate down.
Lord Dominic's strong against the Stone Plate that we already see on the Galio.
QV trading up here against Keen.
Doesn't have lifesteal though, so it's not as one-sided as these trades might get later.
32 minutes in, and he still has the refillable potion. Not going to be doing a whole lot for him. Just like that True Shot Barrage going across Ruler. He's got the shields to help him stay quite healthy. His crown jumps in to the face of Koro.
The game has been a lot more even. Early game we thought, okay, a Freak of Freaks 2-0 looking a possibility, but KSV, this team fighting Varus comp, has shored up some of their weaknesses. Items starting to be pieced together. QV does have the Bilge Water, so he did like what he saw in the reverse matchup. Anything you can do, I can copy. Apparently, so far is the story.
Yeah, just copy-pasting. He doesn't quite have the kills and the massive CS lead here to back it up.
The biggest sheer difference between the two teams is the junglers. Jax has tankiness and damage. There's burst from Spirit, but really nothing else. He has a very mediocre build. He's not snowballed. He's not necessarily free farm. He had to go QSS, and he went Moby Boots for early roaming. Can't really criticize any of those things individually, but what it means at 33 minutes is kind of just dies to AoE or the first paddle star that comes his way.
Means that the pressure is on the members of KSV to actually find that pick-off. Spirit now hunting here for Haru. He's going to jump out. You can see not a whole lot of damage, and just with really the 1W, Haru trades back the same amount of damage.
And Galio was top lane, so there was not going to be a gargoyle. Still, first thought is always going to be back away. The warning indicator comes later, but Haru knows what's up.
Oh, now Haru in a bad spot. Good flash away to take him away from that headbutt pulverized combo that certainly would have had him isolated and potentially gotten him killed.
Keen hasn't really lost significant turret HP this entire time on the bot side, and that must be frustrating KSV, who would really have hoped that this would have been a longer lane in bot side.
I mean, he's been so elusive. QV just actually can't hit him with a boomerang, so he's not getting the hyper proc trades.
He's got a Phantom Dancer too, so he's ready to battle this.
Here we go. Ruler getting jumped on. No hope whatsoever. Kill credit actually going over to Keen. participating from the bottom lane. Ruler way too far forward without that turret. And Afrika, they're going to be pushing in, looking to take the first inhibitor here of the game, 34.5 minutes in.
Didn't even take 5 members. They just take down Ruler. He's all alone. No coverage on his right side means Alistair gets him. Free inhibitor for Afrika Freaks.
That's the reliable wave clear gone. No piercing arrow. I mean, Crown can do that, but to hit the minions when Tucson and the likes of Kuro are standing in the front, it's very difficult. Manages to get the shot there onto Kramer, but too little too late. They already taken it.
And this almost feels like it's happening in a different game than what was happening in mid lane, because it's a short lane bot side. Both outer turrets are up, and this Gangplank and Nara are doing not much, which suits the Gangplank, who's very close to a 6-item build.
This is such a weird game.
It feels like these two people are playing a custom game while we're playing a 4v4 team game.
Oh, here we go. QV going big. Stairs Cage gonna get Popkeen going low. Has the orange. Beautiful stopwatch. Denies the Gnarl. And now QV has overstepped Spirit. Arriving. Will get whopped. Kuro coming in from the side. They jump in. They lock him up. And he is gonna go down mid-leap. Perfectly played by Keen.
And just greedy from QV. He just had a rush of blood to the head. He said, well, the inhibitor's down. I don't know. I can kill this guy. As if there was nothing else happening. You're cementing the fact that he saw it as a true 1v1 when it was just a symptom of Afrika winning the 4v4, Ruler being caught, dying with everything up. He was instantly dead to all the CC. And suddenly, this game has gone from 0 to 100. Again, it's a good all-in from QV, but the moment that you keep going under turret, when you have almost no idea of what's happening around you, it's a bit tone-deaf from QV. Unnecessary to go this deep. Reminds me of Smeb last week, kind of going 1v5 for no reason. And now they have no inhibitor, and what was an even game swings wildly to Afrika Freaks.
I mean, you see that play like that from Keen. 3-0-3 against QV, on KSV, on Samsung Galaxy, world champion. You just kind of have to wonder, A, what's going through his head, and B, what North American team is going to give this guy an offer next season, because it's going to happen if he maintains this form. Don't do it, Keen. Don't take the money.
Last year, Afrika Freaks could be a really good team and a really bad team in the same week. It feels like right now, Afrika Freaks can be an excellent team and also a mediocre to bad team in the same way. It feels like their high has gotten higher because the opposition they're doing it against have reinforced in many ways. They've beaten KT. They are on the precipice of 2-0ing KSV. We don't know how the reliability will be. We don't know if the Kingzone game was just one kind of little snafu and they'll get everything correct afterwards. But it's games like this where they have been very reliable, made very few mistakes over the course of 2 40-minute games that you kind of get worried if you're KSV, and you kind of get excited if you're Afrika.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to hold that thought. Actually, Glacial Fisher coming through off the backside of that. But Pulverize engage. Kramer has been taken rather low. Kuro now here to body block for the Ezreals. He goes ahead and gets healed right back up.
Able to push out mid lane, but Ruler there solo doing it means they don't have much coverage on Baron. That Baron started.
Yep. Go ahead, start this one up. Haru does have the GA. Might need to try to hop in, but almost certainly would get taken out.
Really
going to try to
good
gate this one out.
here.
Yeah, beautiful by him. And might even be able to walk away with his life as the rest of the team comes and backs him up. But no, not quite going to happen. Now Chain of Corruption catches in onto Kramer. Jumps away with the Arcane Shift. Cannon Barrage slowing up the rest of the members of KSV, so not going to be able to find the kill there onto the Ezreal. QV, a consolation prize as he finally finishes off a tier 1 turreted bottom lane. But Baron has gone over to the Afrika Freaks, 3 minutes on that clock. And, charging down the top lane, not going to be something very difficult for them to accomplish.
I love what rating teams on how they defend a Baron start. Tucson was a monster there.
Oh, yeah.
Headbutts away. Also went for the Pulverize. Spirit wasn't on the Baron to start. He was also there for a potential pick and then the ability to turn onto the Baron. They get it with no threat whatsoever. And Afrika Freaks, again, cover themselves in glory with how they've played this game.
So I was going to go back to what I was going to say before that engagement. I agree with you. It seems like the ceiling really has gone up for this team. We just need to see what the floor is like for them, because before there wasn't that much of a discrepancy. Now maybe they could, they can play this well. I'm just hoping that they don't manage to suck super poorly as much at the same exact time on any given day.
Never sure. Again, only 3rd series of the year. Many things can change from now to the end of the regular season, but So far, Afrika Freak's best has been very, very high, and against KSV in a spot you didn't expect them to be this dominant. They have looked dominant. KSV has looked out of ideas in many different ways. Picks like the Galio and the Zoe have both been better than what Crown could really handle in this particular series, and they keep pushing up. Again, there's another outer turret up and the top side to be taken. It's been a very weird game. Inhibitor went down.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. Inhibitor went down before we really had bot lane turrets down for some reason.
Well, now Pinch coming through here onto QV, so that turret's going to be falling right now. Does get taken out by Keen. Bringing up the Baron-empowered minions to look for this final inner turret. And it's going to be the next inhibitors. So much damage going down onto that one. Seems like KSV might be able to hold it for the moment. They are getting wrapped around on by Kramer and Tucson here. Should be careful trying to pressure out this inhibitor by themselves. See the Trouble Bubble, jump away with the Arcane Shift. It's going to take a bit of damage, forced to use the Flash.
Threat of the Jax using his Flash and his Counter-Strike does draw out Summoners, so something to talk about. But Keen walks up, they take out another inner turret. Haven't been able to assault down the inhibitor. That's terrain where they will have to take a risk in order to pick it up, and the Trouble Bubbles can come from every direction. Still fine for the Afrika Freaks. 30 seconds left on Baron. They'll feel fine about the Baron power play. Keen once again. It's going to be a 6 items. So does Boots, so I assume something big is coming.
I mean, that expires in 25 seconds. You got the Elder spawning in 33 now. So could just be the next play here for the Afrika Freaks. Move over, pick that up. They've got 2 buffs. Not great for combat, but knocking down the inhibitors and the remaining turrets. Mountain Drake will help out with that, and then the double stack.
Keen is confirmed to be our newest shoeless warrior. 2 games in a row, 6 items, no boots. The reverse matchup, you have to say he's probably won it against QV Achilles, which rises him up that top lane rank. Can KSV show us some of the magic? They've had magic aplenty in recent months. It looks at a premium here. Going to take their 3rd outer turret of the game. Kazak's not there, so they knew they could
41
walk
and a
out.
half minutes, yep. Do take down that outer mid turret.
I mean, Spirit's job was to push up the minion wave to put extra pressure around this Elder.
Oh, okay. Turns out Tucson still takes quite a bit of damage.
5 items onto the Zoe, means she cannot be trifled with.
Can Crown pull off one hell of a turnaround? It looks like it's going to be Afrika looking for the engage. Tucson looking for Crown, can't quite get her as he jumps away with a flash. Tucson going low, pops the ultimate, staying alive in the fight for the moment. It seems like Haru's going to be the one trying to get in here and lock him down. Counter-Strike goes in, finds the double stun, trying to finish off Keen. Goes low, will get the pop on the GA. Now Kuro going in. Hero's entrance, gets the knockup but can't get the finish. Goes in, Justice Punch does actually manage to finish off Ruler. But so far, it's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of KSV as they try to hold on. Crown skirting around the outside of the fight with a portal jump, trying to lock down onto this Galio. Will be able to do so, will be able to get the kill. And suddenly KSV have a way back in here potentially.
Yeah, team fight victory for KSV. Haru monstered this fight, just rushing straight in. There was nothing Kramer could do. Jax used to always be the champion in the late game, ran at the enemy AD carry and they could do nothing. This was an initiation from the side of the Afrika Freaks. Nice flash from Crown, stops the Buffet headbutt Pulverize from hitting, but watch Haru, who just runs at Kramer, and even with 2 people peeling for him, there's nothing they can do. He turns on to Alistair, who had already ulted earlier. Still Haru is going. He gets popped out of the Guardian Angel. They have to turn on to Kramer to try to peel for him, but they can't peel Haru and also the other threats. The Gangplank dies for free in the backline. The hopes and dreams of a Game 3 are not gone completely. Crown makes the ultimate there. The portal jump looked like an escape summoner, and we're back to
We're going
fighting.
straight into a fight at the Elder Dragon. Spirit goes in, finds Crown. Maybe everything that KSV just pulled up is undone. Freak up moving back over. We'll get the Elder Dragon. TP coming through from Kuro. Minion wave at the top inner turret will have to be answered, but now Afrika, they go back in, they get rid of that Zoe, and now they've got 2.5 minutes on an Elder Dragon buff.
And even more importantly, Crown spawns the same time as Baron. So whether that means a rush down or just complete Baron control, that'll be possible. We're going to get a replay of all of this Crown walks up to harass, and then Kramer runs straight at him. This time the headbutt pulverized can't be flashed away from. A couple of huge shields are not enough. Crown playing with fire, got burnt that time. So did his team in KSV.
Third degree. Baron spawning in 14 seconds, as you say, the 2-stack Elder Dragon buff for the members of Afrika. If you're KSV, do you even try to fight this out?
Answer in game 1 was no. This game is closer than that, but the 8,000 gold lead will snowball to 10,000. Without the Zoe, they don't feel strong enough to face check Brush. They don't even have the threat of the trouble bubble. It's gone.
They got absolutely destroyed. So Baron buff, Elder Dragon here for the Afrika Freaks. Last time out, we're able to pick up multiple turrets. They still have that exposed inhibitor in the mid lane to focus out. Apply that extra pressure onto KSV. But again, it takes some risk pushing that far forward. Somebody like Kramer, and even Tucson, as we've seen, can still get annihilated by the Zoe.
Recreating Haru, kind of winning that fight for them around the river is going to be difficult. They're going to be much more aware of the limitations of their carries against the Jax, who's about a minute and a half away from picking up his Guardian Angel again. Actually have threat outside of the big pick from Crown is going to be a little bit more of a struggle. Smartly playing multiple lanes, but I'm going to get the 5v5 team fight with both buffs running. Only 30 seconds left on that Elder.
Haru waiting in the wings. Seeing if Spirit's going to push further forward. Seems like they don't think they can get the catch and instead just need to bolster the mid lane.
Haru in a side lane himself. Truly is a Jax in the late game. That's why you see Afrika try to find an inroad to mid lane. They don't have anyone to truly engage apart from the Alistair and Galio. Galio is that secondary engage.
Bubble almost connecting there onto Kramer. Would have been quite deadly for him. Gotten hit, but minion clear here coming through from both sides is quite strong. He's going to get hit this time up because he chooses immediately standing in front. But Fisher comes down, Kramer down to about half HP. Get a barrage answered from Keen. Tries to clear out the minion waves here.
Very hard to evaluate if that ult trade suits KSV or Afrika, but one AoE slow is down for both sides. But it's going to back away. It does delay Baron buff, so it does mean the Baron buff duration starts to be wasted. So you'd say advantage KSV with that reality. Haru's going to return to the top side. He's at 6 items already. He's a monster of his own creation. Very tanky build, but no space for something like the Titanic Hydra. It's going to be Hysterics and also the Trinity Force for threat. GA back up for him, though.
Spirit's still lagging behind. Looking for that final item. Guardian Angel, Duskblade, Scimitar. So he's got quite a bit of AD. But like you said, no real tankiness outside of the revive that I'll see from the GA.
Waiting with bated breath here. KSV can't push out very far from their own base, but they've never lost the inhibitors. They haven't lost full map control. Baron was given over free. We'll time out in 20 seconds, and no real gain in map position for Afrika from that Baron. Means that the pick onto Crown wasn't as consequential as it appeared on first glance. Item cap for ages has been keen in both games, but on the GP for a good 8 minutes now. No boots sold yet on the side of KSV. That was a big barrel.
Quite a lot of damage, to say the least. QV fortunately doesn't have
double lifesteal.
So much of that, so
some sort of budget Callista going
right
on with this Gnar. Just get a Hurricane, do his best impression.
Why not? Wouldn't be the first Hurricane Gnar that we've seen today.
No. The last we'll see forever is waiting for Ruler to also go for a bootsless build. Difficult to do against a Galio. Even with Trinity Force, you are deathly afraid of being squished by the Goomba Stomp ultimate in the hero's entrance. And it seems like Afrika just have to let the game extend to an Elder Dragon or a Baron. That's the sort of only sort of objective that will draw KSV out of their base. Till then, just going to be wave clearing, fairly neutral positioning on minion waves, but nothing else to talk about from either team.
Yeah, not really. Gold doesn't matter at this point. Hasn't for a while. Still a ways out from another Baron, but further from another Elder. So it could just be a lot of, you know, wave clearing going on for the next few minutes until an objective spawns.
It doesn't necessarily. It feels like in the past when we've had games like this where, like, well, it's necessarily going to be dragged out. You kind of always knew who was going to win.
This is
in this new meta where everyone's a super hyper carry with massive damage on every user. Titanic Hydra now actually is finished onto Haru, so even more threat coming from him. You're never 100% sure. We don't have the telltale sign. We don't have an Azir on the Rift because those don't lose post 60 minutes. That we've definitely learned. But for now, at least, the inhibitor is still up. So an inhibitor turret's been down for 15 minutes, but no inhibitor yet taken by Afrika.
Yeah. And not even really any damage onto the other inhibitor turrets either. Afrika just haven't been able to get into a position to siege up.
The kind of wildcard variable here is just how strong the Jax is. Usually you can't have the jungler parked in a side lane and not have him monstered by someone, but this Jax is basically a top lane Jax in jungler's clothing, so you definitely have to respect him.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble there onto Tucson. See how much damage he can take. Quite a bit is going to be the answer. Spirit goes in by himself, has to jump out of there. Here's entrance coming through.
Wasted.
From Kuro. A lot of stuff going down there. Kuro's now going to get jumped on. Concussive blows coming through. They're going to be turning all in onto the Galio to try to finish him off. He goes back in with the Justice Punch. Crowd very low in the back line. Can they finish him off? Knockback from the Gnar on the Tucson. Stops him. Spirit goes in, tries to finish him off. He's one hit from dead. He manages to get him as the GA gets popped. He now coming over the wall, trying to offer up his services to help keep Spirit alive, and Kramer has gotten rid of Haru. This could be it, but Ruler manages to get rid of Tucson.
It's a freakish fight, but they're not actually able to get the fourth or the third member and close out the game. They trade up. It's still a 2-for-1. Baron spawns in 25 seconds. Their jungler is still alive. It should still be Baron, a freak of freaks.
But then the question is, can they actually utilize it to break the inhibitor to get onto the turrets? Because in the past, they have not been able to do that. They'll have a little bit of space where Haru and Crown are still dead.
There are two monsters of damage.
Oh, they're just going to go
mid.
straight into the mid lane here.
Kuro's still alive after all of this, so it's 3v3, but Spirit makes it 4.
He just rips this thing apart, so they'll finally go ahead and break this.
They could try and end the game, or at least take some Nexus turrets. Still 20 seconds on Crown.
Looks like they're going to do just that. QV chunked out. Has to jump back, but yeah, no minion wave. It's quite far away. They're going to go ahead, peel back, and just likely hightail it straight over towards that Baron. 15 seconds before Haru is alive. That's plenty of time for them to chunk this out.
And Crown just got monstered, I assume by a barrel combination. I couldn't see what chunked out all of his HP. That would make the most sense. From there, just a shield, and the Zonias delayed the inevitable. The Baron didn't have a fight, just died instantly.
Yeah.
From all the focus damage of Afrika, they'll recall. Again, they trade up, but predictably in this meta and in this game, not a sheer victory, but an effective one.
Hopefully we'll have a replay for you guys so we can take a closer look at Crown getting eliminated there. Spirit in the back line, the MVP of that fight for sure.
If Crown had stayed alive, Haru spent a lot of time, went through his Guardian Angel just chasing down threats in the back line, trying to be a distraction. They needed both his carries to be raining damage on the other side. Didn't get that value out of the mid lane that time. Just didn't really get the ability to get multiple rotations of paddle stars. That was the big problem there.
Well, looks like we might just have another double buff play coming through for Afrika as they clear out this blue side jungle. Get some wards down. 20 seconds on the Elder Dragon coming up.
Do KSV give it up?
Oh.
It's been their MO, but that paddle star heading onto Spirit might change the equation.
Yeah, he's going to have to go ahead and get healed up here.
He's got a lot of attack speed, Achilles.
And a lot to say.
I feel like that Gnar and his shouts remind me of Korean Lissandra.
Yes.
Where it wasn't meant to be said that often because of
like
cooldown reduction or attack speed respectively.
It's like the same exact sound, but just pitched up and more frequent.
What I'm saying is that 2.5 times attack speed, no, is an abomination.
Oh, yeah. That's an abomination. Lissandra needs to shut up, as does Nami. You know the way it goes.
Haru just runs at Spirit, does a lot of damage, but gets disengaged, and this is where the real fight is happening on the bot side of the map.
KSV taking a bit of damage there. The Dragon Buff helping him out. The Barrage coming down. Core JJ and Ruler both have to retreat, and that's going to be another inhibitor falling here in favor of the Afrika Freaks. Top lane not really prepped. They could go pick it up, push it in, and maybe take out that last one with this minute that they have remaining, but seems like they're going to just use the Baron buff to get back to base faster.
Only inching forward, but never actually taking a back step. That's not the Afrika Freaks we know. They've always made trades, but often they took riskier and riskier trades, and sometimes just lost games purely from that risk. Whereas here, they've been inching forward logically. Throw down the Gangplank ult, zone the members of KSV away from the turret. They have to respect the threat of anyone riding the Galio and potentially just killing Ruler. Ruler's done everything he can, every team fight, to conserve his flash, because no flash on Ruler potentially can just be the game ended by the Afrika Freaks. Yet the result is another inhibitor goes down. 2 down finally after a 20-minute stalemate around the mid lane inhibitor. Buffs are going to start the timeout. Baron buff down in 10 seconds, Elder Dragon down in 45 seconds. Love to end the game with the buffs, but it's all about the victory here. It's all about the process by the Afrika Freaks.
Moving up the wave. True Shot Barrage thrown out there by Kramer. I think he was trying to clear the wave, but actually didn't hit any of the minions. Either way, have that up very shortly. Haru waiting over the wall. Crown coming in. Just gets a little bit of damage down onto Kuro, but that's about it.
Trying the same plan again.
Barrage coming down. Ruler chunked down so low from the barrel. Has to just go back to the fountain. In all likelihood, KSV up here in the front line. Just as Punch comes in, he gets deleted. Turret's down, inhibitor exposed, and Afrika looking to win the game right here. Haru has to flash away. King goes in the chase. He's still got the Guardian Angel. Because suppose will lock him up, but he's still going to be fine. Finishes off the inhib. All 3 broken here. And Afrika don't want to overstay their welcome. Even with KSV taken out, they will go ahead and peel back.
Even the most reliable members of KSV are getting targeted this series. Ambition subbed out after game 1. Haru preferred to him in the jungle in game 2. Ruler dying 2v2. It did involve a Gangplank ultimate, but it wasn't the sort of calculation that he's known for on his ever-reliable Varus. It's like the old family car that's always purred along, always been reliable, just once, out of almost nowhere, starting to give way, and KSV here are being targeted by Afrika Freaks, and through the mid lane, it feels like the rock, paper, scissors has been won by Afrika Freaks 2 games in a row. First game of Zoe for Kuro completely outdoes the Azir from Crown, and then Crown picks away the Zoe and gets counterpicked by one of Kuro's old favorites in the Galio, what we can see does very, very competitively against the Zoe. And speaking of that Galio, he's there, and they want to end the game.
He's just charging from above mid. Inhibitor has respawned. They'll go ahead and finish that off. That one off quickly as Tuzin goes in, gets a pop-up on the Crown, who goes gold, and immediately Kuro here waiting for the taunt, finds multiple members. The kills have not yet come in. They're looking for Crown. They finish him off. Spirit finds the kill yet again. Haru jumping in, tries to get on top of Kramer, but he kites his way back with the arcane
free
chip,
hitting.
firing away, trying to finish off Haru, but he can't quite get it, and that's actually going to be a fight for KSV. 3 members dead on the side of Afrika, only for Crown.
Threat on everyone except Ruler, who is 6 items. I see you holding on to your head there, Achilles. We're no closer to knowing the victor here. It seemed like it would be KSV, but watch the replay. Everything onto Crown. Massive value of the Zonius. Zonius through the hero's entrance. Does eventually die, but it takes a while. And Ruler is 6 items, double crit, Infinity Edge. Not just on hits, no wit's end in this build. Everyone is turned onto. He's allowed to play front to back for the first time the entire game. He mows down 3, and that does mean that KSV get another life.
But can they get anything in the meantime? Seems like the answer is going to be no, because they have 3 waves of Super Creep still pushing in, but this is a, unfortunately, familiar story to us, Papa Smithy.
If you're at home and want to know what the magical number is, it's 102. And now 94 minutes to dream was what we saw last time, but 102 will mean that my birthday will be hit this game. We are 44 minutes away from it, Korean Standard Time, from my birthday. I'm going to get matches on my birthday. I didn't know I would get 2 best of 3s and an extra game, but getting more and more like that. And we could still go to a third game, Achilles. Anything is possible.
Is this the best or worst present that you could get?
It's a present, I could
Say
get.
present. Not sure which, what to associate
How about
it
a
with.
Baron? Those are apparently free.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be starting that one up. And
I remember when you had to work for your Barons, when you had to have a multi-step plan. Now it feels like they just hand them out to everyone.
everyone except KSV.
There's a sign.
Turns out it's actually a pretty elite club.
There's a sign that says no KSV on the Baron.
Well, just still trucking along. Elder Dragon gonna be a ways away.
How is
Afrika.
this happening in Ken?
Bot inhib has respawned, and I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first time this has ever occurred.
Zeke's Convergence on Tucson. You know it's late game when Zeke's Convergence put out. Where's my Zarot portals though, Achilles?
We haven't seen those yet. We haven't hit that level of desperation yet.
There's no one with Ornn items. There's no Ornn. Can't shout about that this time. Seeing Afrika try to push multiple lanes. Cuba's been able to push out top, so it's only 2 lanes for them to play around.
Just need one of the luckiest trouble bubbles in the world onto Kramer for KSV to be given a chance. See Kramer and Tucson still just trying to get that inhib taken down yet
Jax
again.
is a monster of wave player. Things not said very often. I think Afrika can still burst down a carry and win this game. They really prefer it was Ruler after the previous fight.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be so careful, though, because Keen doesn't have his Guardian Angel. I believe Spirits is down as well. Yep.
So what you're saying is they should wait it out for a bit.
I'm saying that they're mortal at the moment. Oh, Kramer! Going low, Triple Bubble not going to connect, but he still takes a ton of damage. Raj comes down, still just trying to hit him in the back line, but catches the Cannon Minion instead.
Waste on the Gangplank ultimate, you have to say.
Yeah, just a bit. Wave clear is still so strong, but they just can't walk up. They need Keen to be able to hit this in melee range, and if he does that, he will die.
How many games have we seen where a Gangplank tried to hit a turret or inhibitor, died, and the team lost the game? It's happened upwards of 3 times.
This seems like a pretty lost endeavor here by Spirit. Kuro will come to back him up, but I think Haru could just kill them both in a 1v2 at this rate.
Does draw KSV a bit thinner. Trouble Bubble.
Trouble Bubble goes through onto Keen, but he's got the orange. Keeps himself safe. Tree Shot Barrage tossed out yet again, and the top inhib has come back up as they continue to try to break this.
It's definitely happier times when it comes to lane assignment. Haru runs back in, Spirit's like, nope.
That Cannon Minion's almost got it, man. It's trying to finish it off. Couple more hits. There you go. They got it.
What does it mean, though, Achilles? We still don't know.
OP with the Baron buff. This one down to half HP, and by the time they finish this one off, I'm sure that mid will come back up as well. Tucson getting slowed up, takes so much damage. Glacial Fissure comes down, he'll get popped up. No one there to proc the concussive blows, but that might be it for the siege onto this bottom inhib.
So many almosts with those almost pixel-perfect paddle stars.
This game has almost ended at one point.
I think we need a new record. Where's my 95 plus, man? Let's do it here. Between KSV and Afrika Freaks. This is my new life. Only day 3 of my 6-day LCK week. I'm ready for more.
I mean, even if we don't break the game record, we still could break the time leaving record because it's 11:20 p.m. We could still go to a third game, and that one could be another 60 minutes.
Other things could break. My mental could go boom.
Yeah, the sound could break on the headsets again.
They say that if you listen closely, you can hear when Papa Smithy's mental goes boom. I'll let you guys decide the timestamp for that one. The desk also looking a bit brittle. Afrika have a lot to work with here.
I just don't understand why this always happens.
And it's always when you're here. I'm always here. I'm not to blame. You're to blame.
This is nonsense, man. This is all. It was Max last time. All of last year, it was Atlas's fault when the days went long. I don't know what happened, but I don't like it.
Well, the Zarot portals are out, so we're in the super late game, guys. In case you wanted. Elder Dragon, they're not going to fight for that. They've got 3 Zarot portals.
All right. Well, here we go. Elder Dragon spawning. KSV, will they do anything to fight this? Juve getting jumped on. Goes Mega.
KSV doesn't need to be this far up. When we did see Jin Air in a similar scenario, they weren't fighting for buffs, but you can see KSV are trying to fight. It means they're in exposed terrain. This is not a game extender by KSV. This is them trying to actually fight when they feel like they have a chance. They have the Zarok portals in top lane. That's why they feel they can walk up, but eventually they think better of it, they back away.
So we'll just be the Elder Dragon going over to Afrika. Whether or not that is enough for them to finish this game, I have no idea whatsoever. If Jin Air versus SKT means anything, it means that it's probably going to take about 7 more.
Got 9 Barons in that game.
Yep.
The losing team had
Not sure
6.
how many we've had so far. Perhaps Joel will whisper in our ear.
I don't know if I'm ready for a Joel Whisper right now. I need to really get myself just zeroed in on this particular game, as it's complete madness.
The problem is I'm going to have to question, is it actually Joel whispering to me, or is it my mind slipping away?
You never know. After 2 games like this in a few days, Nara is doing his best Hurricane impression now. He's basically Kalista. No Blade the Ruin King anymore. Bloodthirster gone as well. Now,
Thornmail.
it's kind of annoying with this build.
He is just trying to be as much of a jerk as possible.
The Zarok portals helping the top side earlier than we saw. It was pretty late for Zarok portals in the Jin Air SKT series.
You want to know something fun?
Inhibitors are back.
The top inhibitor's about to respawn.
Nice.
Oh, Kramer getting some alone time here. Dodges out of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Really nice arcane shift. Crown goes low. Tucson goes forward, tries to find the pop. Bottom inhib here. Looks like they'll go ahead and complete the sweep. As the top one gets ready to come back up, QV still frontlining, has a Guardian Angel, but has to go back to the fountain. Doesn't want that pop.
Yeah, they should definitely back away.
This
It's
is
far
just gonna
too
be
early
time.
to
You know, the
push
Baron's
up.
about to spawn in 45 seconds. You just go pick up another Baron because, you know, you really need like 9 to finish the game, so just go ahead and pick that up.
I don't want to talk anymore. I'm done talking.
I don't know if I want to live. Ah, no, but this is just, it goes on and on and on. About 30 more minutes and we will have broken the record by 2.
How does that song go? This is the song that never ends. Goes on and on, my friends.
I don't know.
That's the new LCK theme song. Don't let OGN tell you otherwise. Off and off we go.
What's that Green Day song, Wake Me Up When Afrika Ends?
Something like that. Frika, you know, they're going to get another Baron. Maybe an Elder. Maybe both at the same time. Actually, no. The Elder's not there for another 4 minutes. That's not going to happen. This is the right move for them. They already have 3 inhibitors. Smart to pick up the Baron and then attempt to end the game. Tucson's there. Expecting there to be some sort of interruption. We know that he doesn't need to be there. No one fights for Baron in 2018.
Why would you?
Useless objective.
That's such a 30-minute thing to do. And this is the new fashion of League of Legends. 60-plus minute long games.
Feels like 35 is the new 25, but not as an age conversation, but a short game conversation. They're going to push up.
I'm sure there's some people that would like to think that.
They have their minion waves coming at the same time, something that SKT wasn't able to do with any reliability. They really weren't able to play their side waves as much as they wanted to. There's no Sivir on the side of KSV, and while you can do a Sivir impression as Varus, you're not quite the same. One inhibitor's back. That's what has to happen.
Slowly taking damage here from these Baron-empowered cannon minions. Yet again. Try to break it. Wave clear from Ruler. It's just insane. So, it seemed like they'll be getting much damage in onto the Nexus turrets either. Kuro is still just desperately trying to finish off this final inhib in the top lane.
Again, with the Hurricane, a bit of backup wave clear, but not a Sivir to ricochet crits. Their wave clear is slower. Means the minion line should push up more reliably. Game could definitely end from here. Paddlestar hits Spirit, means he's out of the fight.
So he has to peel back, which means the game probably won't end here. We'll see as things continue, however. Guardian Angel's back up for multiple people here. His Spirit just gets a little bit of HP back. But Inhib still standing strong.
Tucson can definitely initiate. He has the Galio threat as well, and just popping the Righteous Glory enough to once again rub out one of these inhibitors. So going to be all 3 out now. So all 3 out, but not for much longer. Respawn timer's not far from here.
Yep.
The problem is, they have to fight tooth and nail for an inhibitor, and then they back off. That's really all you can do. The health bars are getting lower. The wave clear is still good. It doesn't actually lead to an advancement of the position they're in. And we just kind of rest rinse, repeat. Try and judge how many people will be dropping their items. There still is boots on multiple members. Smart moves so far. And Afrika have more flexibility than there was able to happen from the side of SKT. They do have the Galio to play multiple lanes and respond faster than just a teleport.
What was that movie with Tom Cruise, Live, Die, Repeat?
Oh, you mean Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Good movie.
I feel like I'm stuck in Edge of Tomorrow right now.
Some hybrid of Edge of Tomorrow and also Groundhog Day.
Yep. This thing's going back and forth here. He takes a bit of damage, but of course has the life steal to bring himself back up. Drop Barrage getting a little bit in.
They held on to the minion waves a little bit there to actually have them crash at the same time.
Looking for it. Crown has gone low. Has to go back over to the Fountain. Ruler as well, caught up in the Cannon Barrage. It's chunked out. A lot of damage in onto the lower Nexus turret here. Haven't finished it off yet.
Get a big chunk on it this time, though, Achilles.
Kramer will be able to finish it off, but Pulverite goes in. Ruler chunked out, has to kite his way back, trying to stay alive. The lifesteal, we might actually see the finish of this game here, just beyond the 70-minute mark. Tucson just front-lining. Turret getting ripped apart. The Nexus has been exposed. Tucson goes in deep. Keen up in the front line, trying to chunk this down. He's got the Guardian Angel, but he has to flash away. Meanwhile, in the back, Kramer gets taken out. Haru finds the kill. Can they pull it off?
So low!
Afrika Freaks trying to get the hits, and it's just Kuro on the backside. He's so tanky as a Galio.
It's
a couple more hits. Can he get it? No! He hasn't got it! They hold it up. 70 minutes, 40 seconds. Are you kidding me, KSV? They live to fight another day!
Somehow, it's even closer than with SKT versus Jin Air. An auto attack away from the Kazakhs to end the game. With the long death timers, KSV, they're 5-man strong. How far can they get, Achilles?
55 seconds
could
on
win.
Kuro. They might be able to take this all the way to game 3, Papa Smithy. The flash is coming through.
Just to
try
get
to close
close
the distance to the turret as quickly as they can. The TP coming through from QV from Crown. Turret goes down. 25 seconds on Kramer. I think they have it as well. Papa Smithy, the
they do.
joining them in. KSV are going to take us to game 3. We're going to be casting games all the way through to your birthday, Papa Smithy, because good God, what a comeback. KSV pull that one out of their asses, and they tie up the series 1-1.
Just crazy scenes here at the E Stadium. It got so close. People wondered, watching back, that match between SKT and Jin Air. What if SKT bum rush the Nexus? We get that shown right here. It does not work, but it's oh so close. Everyone will watch the replay and agonize over whether they should have been auto-attacking a champion or auto-attacking the Nexus. No one knows for sure without a replay, but we know that KSV are not smiling. They are not accepting anything after that victory. It was by the finest of margins, somehow closer than that famous game a few days ago, and we have to do it all again.
Unbelievable. Game 3, 11:30 p.m. here in Korea. Afrika Freaks gonna have to put their heads together, figure out how they're going to approach this game 3. It looked good. Both games look great, but we'll go ahead. We'll get another look at this final fight.
I mean, everyone always has an agenda at this point. The shot calling can never be clear because there's no exact right decision. You don't scrim the 70-minute fiestas. Watching here, they get the turret down, and what happens afterwards? Keen is auto-attacking the Nexus, doing auto-attacked by QV, goes down to Guardian Angel. Haru is a monster on this Jax. There's no Ezreal to have safe ranged auto-attacks onto the Nexus. Everyone's trying to fetch. Tucson auto-attacking. Galio, so close. He actually uses his E. Could he have gotten another auto-attack in?
What was the HP? I want to know what the HP was.
It would have been sub 100. We weren't able to get the click in. Maybe OGN will be able to confirm. If he hadn't used the Justice Punch, would there have been another auto? This is a question we will not know the answer to for Kuro. And somehow, not even in Game 3, we still have an entire Game 3 to serve you, OGN Legion. We had something that is a callback to a famous game days ago, and then another game to offer up.
Yeah, it was no 94 minutes, but the ending is probably even crazier. Absolute insanity from KSV, not going down without one of the most tooth and nail fights I have ever seen. 11:31 on the clock as we get ready to go into game number 3. We're not done yet. One more to go. KSV does not want to go home with a loss under their belt. They want the match. It seems like they will stop at nothing to secure it for themselves.
Insane scenes here. The fans, for the 3rd time out of 4 match days, are staying after midnight.
Dedication is all I can say, Papa Smithy. That's about it, but we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion.